Hi folks, hope you're okay today. I just want to talk about Charles Hodge and what Charles Hodge means to me. Charles Hodge was a Princeton theologian of the 19th century. He was one of the great intellectuals of that time. He was a very humble young man when he first started out. He went on a tour, the Grand Tour. If you were going to be a serious intellectual in the 19th century, he went on the Grand Tour of Europe. So he went on the Grand Tour and he went around Germany, where he heard Schleiermacher and was impressed by various thinkers like that. But when he came back, he gained a lot of experience in understanding German theology. You couldn't really be an intellectual in those days unless you grappled with German theology, because they were the top academics of the 19th century. So when Hodge came back to America, he got involved in Princeton Theological Seminary. This was a bastion of Presbyterian orthodoxy, and Hodge threw himself in exposition of Scripture. He lectured on 1 Corinthians, he lectured on Romans. He was not the most brilliant exegete in terms of understanding Greek, but he was a brilliant exegete in getting the general thought of an epistle. That's what some of his contemporaries stated. Now, during the time of Hodge, there were various controversies, such as the revival of Charles Finney, and there was also a controversy concerning the higher life movement. And basically the idea was that the higher life movement ordered a quick fix way to being sanctified, whereas the Augustinian theologians such as Charles Hodge were saying, no, things are a bit more difficult, we have to wrestle and fight with sin, etc. Hodge acquitted himself in an impeccable way in these theological debates, writing essays that were very, very sweet in nature. You can look at the Banner of Truth and look at Princeton theologians or Princeton papers, and you can get books by Princeton theologians at Banner of Truth Trust, and you'll be able to verify this concerning his writing. And there was a gentleness and a sweetness in dealing with other Christians who had a different theological opinion, and that's one of the major things about Hodge that really impressed me. He was a Presbyterian, great defender of the Westminster Confession of Faith, great defender of Reformed theology, but very, very gracious to other Christians of a different position, theologically speaking, and that mightily impressed me. The second thing that impressed me with Charles Hodge is his breadth of reading his opponent's theology. I mean, in his systematic theology are references to theologians of the 19th century, theologians of the 18th, 17th century, German theologians, Dutch theologians, Swedish theologians, from all spectrum, Catholic, Protestant, liberal, etc. So the depth of his scholarship really impressed me with what he's saying. And thirdly, his commitment to Scripture. Scripture was always there. In his last days, when he was about 70 years of age, he would go on a grand tour of preaching around America, and he would often weep as he came to the end of his life. Weep concerning the nostalgia of going through his life and thinking about it. But his achievement was a great achievement. He left a rich heritage of wonderful commentaries, great systematic theology book, and a life that was an impeccable Christian life. And it's that commitment to scholarship and that commitment to live a gracious life that always impresses me with Charles Hodge. Thank you for listening, and take care.